Wallace finds top shelf back corner. Carlow is going to take the 4-1.
And welcome to the Carlow Sports Network season preview. As today we are talking Carlow women's soccer. I'm Sean Myers of the Carlow Sports Network, joined by the head coach of the Celtics, Alan Duda. Year number 2, Coach. First off, thank you for joining us. We appreciate this new series in 2019-20.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
So let's jump right into a year ago. It was your first year guiding this program. Now, you'd been around the program, but a little bit different responsibilities as the head coach. And it seemed like your team really delivered. You got the number 3 seed in the conference playoffs, made it to the semifinals. How do you evaluate the 2018 campaign for Carlow?
I think it was a great season. We came into the season with high expectations to make the playoffs. We succeeded and went far in getting to the semifinals.
Now, did you set any particular goals before the season of how far you wanted to go, and how did that performance match up with the expectations?
Well, setting goals, we wanted to make playoffs, and then that next goal became winning the conference. We just came short of that, but I think going to the semifinals was a huge success for the program.
I know that team success is your number one focus. Often coaches kind of give credit to the players for executing, but you deserve some credit as well. It was your first year, and it was a pretty good debut for you. You were named the River States Conference Coach of the Year for women's soccer. What did that honor mean to you?
A huge honor for the program, for the university, but truly it does belong to the players. Without them, we wouldn't have done or gone as far as we did. So, yeah, that honor is more of a team thing than myself, but it is an honor, though.
When did you find out that you were going to be Coach of the Year, and what was your reaction to it?
Surprised, excited. Again, for the team, it's a huge honor.
What were your biggest takeaways as your first year as the head coach with this team?
Takeaway from a team aspect, just getting the team gelling. We gelled. We had a rough go at the beginning of the season, made a couple adjustments, and they overcame those very well, and that led us to succeeding through the season.
You have a pretty accomplished assistant coach in Marcus, a guy who's really helped build this program over the years. He still remains on staff despite his role with the men's team. How important was that?
Oh, it's very important. He pretty much built this program to where it is. It's great having him here involved with the women's team. He recruited a lot of those players, so I think it's huge to have him with us helping on the women's side.
Did that ease the transition for you and for the players as well?
Oh, extremely. Yeah, it did, because there were a lot of returning players coming back that he had been working with recruiting-wise, and the group that we brought in seemed to gel with them very quickly. So, yeah, having Marcus here is a huge advantage for me.
You mentioned how he did a great job in recruiting, and a lot of the girls were ones that he brought to this program. Is it a benefit to you being a local guy playing in this area to try to recruit the WPIAL?
Yeah, it's a huge advantage for me. I'm coming from the South Hills. If you've noticed on our roster, we have quite a few South Hills players coming in last year as well as this year. So for me, it's an advantage. I know a lot of the coaches around the area, high school-wise, and interact with them, talk with them, know a lot of the players in the area. So for me, it's a huge advantage.
How do you describe your team's style of play?
Patient, quick counterattack, but key thing is we're a patient team.
Is that something that is always going to be a staple of your team, or is it going to depend on the personnel that you have?
Definitely depends on the personnel that we have. Each year we have new players coming in, might play a different role. We may need to change our style, but this year will be a more patient game for us.
You had more than half a dozen ladies graduate from last year's very successful team. For the group that did move on, what did that senior class mean to Carlow?
meant a lot. Losing them is going to be a huge loss for the team. Hopefully we have some new players coming in that will fill those roles. But yeah, the seniors that left, they were a big part of our success last year. So losing them was a tough blow, but it's understandable. It's great success for them moving on. But our new players coming in know that they have a role to fill.
And we'll talk a little bit more about the new players coming in. But as far as the girls who were here last year that do return, do you feel pretty strong about that group that's coming back?
Very strong. We were close. Losing the semifinal last year, they saw what the potential was to almost winning that game. And they've got a goal this year to keep going further. So, yeah, it's important them coming back, and they have a goal set.
When you talk about goal set for this year and trying to build upon last year, what was the focus for this team during the offseason?
Just being conditioned, as fit as we could be, getting together and gelling as much as we can, so that we become one unit on this team.
Do you have any particular players that you think might take the next step that maybe were role players or kind of complementary players a year ago that now could become focal points of this team?
There's a couple of returning players that were leaders on this team last year, and they're coming back, stepping into that same role. They will continue to lead this team as they did last year.
Alexis Schwab certainly is one of those top players. She had a terrific season a year ago, leading the team in goals and points. What makes her so good as a finisher?
I think she's played that position pretty much all of her playing days. She understands the game very well. She has a nice turn with the ball when she does receive it, and she's not afraid to shoot. Without shooting, we can't score.
She combined with Christina Wallace to account for the majority of your team's offense last year. With Christina moving on due to graduation, how do you try to replace that void in scoring?
Yeah, that's kind of a piece that we're missing as far as Christina graduating. That's kind of why we're going to change our style a little bit, change our formation to accommodate that loss with the players that are coming in.
Your team collectively allowed just more than one goal per game last year, 22 total goals on the campaign. What was key to that defensive performance?
I think we have a solid defense last year. Rachel Fleury kind of led that back four. She's returning this year, which is a huge plus for us. We did lose Karina in that center back. Hoping to move some other players around so that we can fill that void there.
When you speak of Rachel Fleury, what stands out about her and her ability to defend?
Just her vision, her toughness, winning the ball. When she does win it, she's not afraid to take a couple chances and play the ball out for our counterattack. Having
an experienced goalkeeper always helps. You have Paige Tindahedi returning. What qualities does she possess?
She's got great athletic ability. She's got a great reach. She reads the game well. She's a very good communicator in the back, which is very important out of the goalkeeping position.
So you bring in 8 freshmen to this program. So far, what have you seen from this freshman class, and how much of an impact do you expect them to have? Yeah,
first year is always the toughest coming into, you're going from high school to college as well as a new team. So it's very important that they gel with the team, and we have that from day one with this group. They interact very well. They mix well with the team. So I think that one unit that we're looking for is there.
Do you anticipate a lot of the freshmen playing key roles and maybe even starting?
Yeah, I do.
When you look at the River States Conference, your team kind of middle of the pack in terms of the coaches' poll, what are the expectations that you have, and how do you evaluate the rest of the conference?
Well, we always set high goals. I mean, it is a very tough conference. It's very competitive. Obviously, our goal is to win the conference. So that's our big goal this year.
Any other teams that you think stand out as maybe front runners, or even teams that might surprise some people?
Yeah, Point Park's always up there. Asbury, Indiana University East is up there. So yeah, there's a number of teams in our conference that are very, very competitive. We had a lot of 1-0 games last year, and it's because teams are tough that we're playing against.
A year ago, you did not fare that well to begin this season, but I think you wanted to test your team in non-conference. What do you look for in the non-conference matches this year?
We open up against Spring Arbor, a very tough team. It'll be a true test for us to see where we're at. Hopefully we had a good week with training and conditioning, and it's a very good matchup for us to start the season.
And lastly, Coach, what's your favorite part about coaching this version of the Celtics?
Well, I love being on the field with the team. Celtics it's a great university to be at, Carlow University. I take pride in being here. But no, just the opportunity I was given to coach this team. I'm very blessed to do that.
Coach, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it. Good luck heading into the season.
Thank you very much.
Alan Duda, the head coach of the Carlow Celtics women's soccer team. And we're now joined by senior defender for the Carlow Celtics, Rachel Flory. Rachel, thank you for taking the time. We appreciate you joining us here today. Let's jump right into how you have improved as a player during your time at Carlow. It's now year number 3 that you're starting with the Celtics.
I think a lot has to do with the kind of players that come in and out. I've played with the same center back, Karina, for the past 2 years, and this year we are introducing Gabby, I believe as it is right now, as the other center back who usually played outside. So it's kind of, in the beginning, it was a lot of getting used to how Karina played, and now I'm comfortable with that, and now we've got a new person thrown in there. So it's going to be a lot of me learning to play with her, to talk with her as a player, see what she's about. I know what she was on the outside, and I know that she likes to get up a lot more. So for me, it's going to take a lot more discipline to make sure she stays back more and me controlling kind of out of the back.
To build that type of chemistry with a teammate, does it take more than just playing together? Do you guys have to talk constantly even when you're not in action?
A lot of it does come on the field because we're constantly in practice. I'm constantly being told by coaches I need to talk more as the center back. And Gabby is vocal, so she'll kind of go off of me as a player. So it takes a lot of leadership coming from me that Gabby will pick up in that new position to talk and let everyone know. But it's off the field too. Me and Gabby this past year have built up a chemistry. She's a great player. She's a good kid. So there's no kind of problem in that aspect.
Well, you mentioned trying to become maybe a little more vocal, a little more talkative. Do you feel like that's part of your expanded role now that you're a senior?
Yeah, as my position requires a lot of talking, and it always has ever since I was little. Ever since I started playing center back, I've always been told I need to talk. But as my senior year and seeing what the potential that this team kind of has, me talking out of the back is going to be more crucial than I think it ever has, because if I can control the back, it takes a lot of pressure off of us and gives more roles and stuff to go forward through the midfield.
So at your position, the stats don't always indicate your level of play. We're going to be talking to Alexa. You look at her goals, that kind of tells the story. With you, what do you use to evaluate your performance?
A lot of it, I think, comes from how many goals against, although a lot of that does have to do with the goalie. I think a lot of it has to do with me and the back line and how we play. Goals scored against her are usually fault from us, not doing our job in the back or having little breakdowns. So although the stats may show other people scoring goals and me not having any, I'm going to take advantage of the times that I do get to go up there, but having least goals against is a huge stat for me that I look at.
18 games a year ago, your team allowed 22 goals. Was that pretty in line with the expectations?
I think so. I think we could definitely knock that number down. I think the little problems that we have, we're starting to fix, and we have new players coming in that can kind of change that. I would like that number to drop down, though, going into this season.
So you came to Carlow after a year at Colorado Mesa. What went into that decision, joining the Celtics?
I originally have a lot of family out here. My mom is from Newcastle, and my uncle lives in Peters, and I have an aunt in Belle Vernon. So it kind of had a lot to do with that and me wanting to come still kind of stay away from California. But I literally drove into Pittsburgh I think we just wanted to check out the city, and I saw Carlow, and I saw that they had a soccer team and a great nursing program, and I was like, I think this is where I want to be. So it's kind of an in-the-moment decision. It was in literally 2 weeks I made the decision to come out here, but it's probably one of the best decisions I've made.
You alluded to California, Huntington Beach. Seems like weather-wise maybe a little bit more favorable than Pittsburgh for most of the year. How has the adjustment been living in Western Pennsylvania?
It's definitely a big adjustment, especially because of the weather. I'm not used to all the snow, and it gets way more humid out here than it does back home. It kind of just stays a constant, like 75 about where I'm from. But I like the change. I like experiencing the seasons. I do really enjoy being out here and being in Oakland, and it's just such a change that it's something that I'm open to, and I love to explore.
So this time of year, it's pretty good weather, but once you get into those night games in late October, is that a little bit of an adjustment for you?
A little bit. The Under Armour comes on, the headbands stay on, you're usually packed. It does get cold, but once you start playing in the games, it doesn't really have an effect. You warm up super quick, so it's not too big of a factor.
What stands out to you about Alan Duda, the head coach, as well as the rest of the staff?
I think Alan is such a positive coach that it really kind of rubs off on our team. I think we've had trouble in the past with kind of negativity, not horrible, but it's good having someone come in and be so positive and love the game. You can tell that he loves the game so much, so it kind of rubs off on us. Oh, we want to do this. We want to do this for us. We want to do this for him. It's kind of more like a team aspect.
You alluded to maybe trying to lower the number of goals your team allows this season. That was one of the expectations, is that you'd be better in that area. Overall, what are the team expectations?
I don't know if we really have any set expectations. We would like to kind of start off. We've had a little rough kind of starts in the beginning of the years. I think starting off well would be good for us. We seem to be more of a second half, later on in the season we start to pick up, just like last year we went on a run. So I think expectation-wise, us having a good start to the season, us being fit is big. And I think finishing is probably going to be one of our biggest things to work on this year. We do have a little bit of trouble with that, and I think if we can do a little bit better and make some improvements there, our season can go very well.
Is there a particular team you're looking forward to playing against?
I would like another shot at Asbury. They beat us in our senior game, and they beat us in the semifinals, so to come back senior year and beat them, that would be pretty nice.
And it is your senior year. How do you make sure that you enjoy it and make the most of it?
Take every practice and game one at a time. It's crazy, this is my last preseason that I'm ever going to have, and it's hard to think about that, but I've enjoyed it, and I'm ready to get going. As much as I want to get playing, it's sad, but I'm ready to start the season.
Rachel, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate it, and good luck in the season. Rachel Flory, the defender and the senior for the Carlow Celtics. And we're now joined by Alexis Schwab, a junior forward for the Carlow Celtics. Alexa, thank you for taking the time to do this.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
So a year ago, it was a good one for you. 10 goals, 4 assists, 24 points. You led the team in goals and points, and it was your first year with the program. How were you able to have that immediate success?
I've been playing since I was little, and just growing up around the game and just being very driven since I wasn't able to play the year before. I was very excited to come in and do the best that I could, and I was excited to be a part of a team again and be able to help them in any way possible.
I'm sure that there's a scouting report out for you with all your opponents. Do you anticipate you're going to be more of a focal point, and how do you handle that defensive attention?
I think last year I was a bit more of a surprise since nobody really knew me beforehand and they didn't know that I was a player to watch. So I definitely think there will be more focus on me defensively. However, I've kind of dealt with that kind of pressure when I was younger and in teams I've played in with the past. So I'm not really worried about it, and I think that opens up the opportunity for other players to step into that role and help the team out more.
Do you anticipate maybe you become more of a playmaker at times if you're seeing more defenders?
Absolutely. I think it's going to be more focus on me finding those gaps and finding my teammates rather than driving straight to goal, because I'm going to be focused on more, and they're going to be trying to hold me back a little bit more, so it's going to free up some space for my teammates.
What's your best attribute as a player?
I think I'm very versatile in the way that I play, because I grew up playing for a team where we went straight to goal all the time, but then as I grew up, I started playing with teams that held the ball more and focused more on possession. So I think I've played different styles, and I'm very versatile in that way, and I can adapt to either way.
What aspects of your game have you really focused on improving since a year ago?
I think last year I was coming off an injury, so I wasn't in the best physical condition I could have been in. So I really focused on training all summer long, making sure I was running every day and being in the best fitness position I could possibly be, and also just getting more touches on the ball this year than I did the year before.
You had a great year a year ago. Do you set individual goals now in 2019?
I don't really have any individual goals just because I know that there's going to be more of a focus on me, and I'm going to be marked a lot harder than I was in the past. So it's all about the team goals, which is the most important thing, because nobody really remembers what you did as an individual, but it's more about what your team did all together. And that's kind of, I'd rather win a championship than have reach my individual goals.
After high school, you went to Kent State University before joining Carlow. What led to your decision to come to the Celtics?
A lot of it was academic. I wanted to pursue nursing, and Carlow is a fantastic nursing school, but also I just missed the game a lot, and this was a team I could play for where I could still focus on school while playing the sport I love.
A year ago was a good season for Carlow. Third place finish in the regular season, making it to the semifinals of the River States Conference. What are the keys to having even more team success this year?
We lost a lot of seniors from last year, so filling those roles that we had, we lost a center back, we lost a forward, so really honing in on our new players and the talent that we had coming off the bench, because I think we have a lot of depth on our team. Really focusing on making those players into college athletes since they haven't played at this level before. So I think our focus needs to be to bring those players up and give them that role.
You talk about some of your teammates becoming college players. Which one of your teammates or multiple of your teammates do you expect to have big seasons?
We actually have a transfer from Penn State Barron. Her name's Haley, and I think that she's going to step into a huge role. Last year we kind of lacked players in the midfield that could win the ball or hold it and be patient on the ball, and I think that she's going to bring that in. And then also Rachel Flory, our center back, has always been phenomenal, and I think that she'll come up big for us this year, as she always does. So I think a lot of the seniors are going to do well, and we have so many new players that there's so much room for growth.
Lastly, what's the best part about playing for Carlow?
The best part about playing for Carlow, I would probably say just the team atmosphere that we have, and I think this year especially, everybody's really growing closer, and I've made so many friends on this team, and we're on the bench always just laughing and messing around, and these are just some of my greatest friends, so it's really great to be a part of that.
Alexa, we appreciate the time. Congratulations on a great 2018. Good luck heading into this season.
Thank you so much.
That's Alexis Schwab, the junior forward for the Carlow Celtics.